What's up everybody, this is Master Ian Gamer, back again already with even more Overwatch 2 news. Once again, I'm hesitant to call this outright news, as technically it's an unconfirmed leak, and therefore could be completely, nothing. But this information does come from a somewhat reputable source, which has been correct about Overwatch leaks in the past, which is why I decided it would in fact be worthwhile for me to cover it, and at the very least share my thoughts on this leak about how Overwatch 2 might not be releasing until 2023. Real quick before we jump into it though, I would like to remind you to subscribe and hit up that bell icon to never miss out on any future Overwatch and Overwatch 2 news and content. But now let's talk about the latest troubling news when it comes to Overwatch 2. So the news/leak in question for today's video is a tweet which came from infamous Overwatch leaker Metro. Now, for those of you who have been playing Overwatch for a while, you likely have heard of Metro before, as historically he has made some actual leaks pertaining to Overwatch content. Most notably, he leaked before BlizzCon 2018 that the next new hero would be Ashe, and that she'd have a sidekick character named Bob, and also leaked some particular details pertaining to the announcement of Overwatch 2 back at BlizzCon 2019. However, Metro has proven to be fairly hit or miss when it comes to the actual information he ends up leaking. On more than a few occasions, he's leaked potential information regarding Overwatch or Overwatch 2, which ended up being flat out wrong. So the rule of thumb I go by when it comes to anything this guy says is to take it with a very hefty grain of salt. There could be some truth to what he's talking about based on his sources, but it doesn't hurt to be skeptical. So that being said, let's go ahead and just take a look at what exactly it was he even said this time regarding Overwatch 2. Overwatch 2 news. I've heard from multiple people close to my original source with Overwatch 2 that the development is taking longer than expected. From what I can gather, a release in 2022 does not seem likely anymore. I hope this is false and I'm proven wrong. That being said, if it turns out to be true, rip Overwatch. No way the game will be alive for another year and a half without major updates. Now, as disappointing as the notion of Overwatch 2 not releasing until after 2022 is, I will point out that in the latter half of his first tweet, he mentions, "From what I can gather, a release in 2022 doesn't seem likely," which seems like this is his own sort of speculation, just based on the things his sources have told him. And historically, based on many leaks he's presented in the past, this often tends to be an issue with Metro, where he'll sort of speculate off of little details he's been leaked to sort of try and create a bigger picture, and more often than not, that's usually where he ends up being wrong about things. So I will just mention that in terms of Metro having some credible source who told him that Overwatch 2 isn't going to release until 2023, that really doesn't seem to be the case. It seems like he's heard a lot of little rumors from admittedly credible sources, who in turn have led him to believe it won't be releasing until at least 2023. So, no confirmation on it being that late, but I have to admit, considering everything which has happened to Overwatch, and especially Blizzard over the past couple years, the idea of Overwatch 2 not releasing until 2023 isn't that far-fetched in my opinion. Even before Metro made these tweets talking about this, I'd sort of suspected that, unfortunately, it might end up being the case that Overwatch 2 is still, even at this point, much farther away from release than most of us think it is. I mean, just looking back at the timeline of events from when Overwatch 2 was first initially announced back at BlizzCon 2019 up until now, there have been a number of hiccups and speed bumps which Blizzard has hit during that time frame. First of all was the 2020 pandemic. That, despite what the developers say, almost certainly was a huge hurdle for the development team and the development of Overwatch 2 as a product. This is something we've seen not even just with Blizzard, but across the industry, a huge hiccup in the development of various gaming projects because of the pandemic. Just looking at the release of new games over the past year, things have been very slow and sort of inconsistent with how they've been released and developed, so I think you'd have to be a fool to think that Overwatch 2 wasn't in any way whatsoever hindered by the pandemic. And yeah, I know that the devs have said in the past that, oh, they just had to transition transition to working from home, which took about a week, and then after they did that, oh, everything was back to working fine, and there were no delays whatsoever. But honestly, I don't think we should believe that. That's just marketing speech to make it sound like everything's operating as they intended, when in reality, it seems almost inevitable that things have been slowed. But aside from the pandemic, we also have to consider all the other hiccups Blizzard has run into recently, such as the exodus of multiple significant Overwatch developers. Everything from character artists to the lead writer Michael Chu, and of course, not that long ago, the game director himself, Jeff Kaplan. Blizzard and the Overwatch team in particular have been hemorrhaging high-level, talented, long-time developers, and even though Jeff Kaplan was replaced by Aaron Keller, who was also someone who'd been working on Overwatch since day one, once again, I can't imagine that sort of transition didn't have any significant delays whatsoever for the production of Overwatch 2. And most recently, when it comes to speed bumps, which Overwatch 2's development has hit, we of course have the latest controversy, which I've already talked about a couple different times in different videos, so I'm not going to delve any more into it here, but you all know what I'm talking about. The horrific allegations against Blizzard and the drastic fallout that has brought with it. Once again, there's no way you're going to convince me that a drastic fiasco like that had no consequences for the development of Overwatch's sequel. And those are just the hurdles that we're aware of for Overwatch 2. Who knows how many other internal little issues or problems they've run into along the development process, which could potentially have caused them to have to slow development or simply take more time to produce the final product. The fact that we're now well past halfway through 2021 and we've only had a couple significant updates about Overwatch 2 at this point does sort of give the impression that maybe things aren't quite as on track as Blizzard had hoped they would be by this point, which means maybe we won't be seeing the game until 2023. I should mention, I really hope that isn't the case. Like, I definitely want Blizzard to take the time they need to make Overwatch 2 a good finished product, but at the same time, I really don't want to have to wait that long. I would certainly like it if Blizzard could get Overwatch 2 out sometime, maybe mid-2022, I think would be a modest time frame for them to potentially work with. But just considering everything they've gone through over the past few years, I wouldn't be surprised if it does end up releasing in 2023. But these have just been my thoughts on this latest leak, which, we have yet to see whether or not it ends up being true, but definitely let me know your thoughts on all this by dropping a comment down below. Do you think we won't be seeing Overwatch 2 until 2023? Or are you a bit more optimistic and you think Blizzard is more on track than Metro alludes, and we will in fact be seeing the game within the next year? Either way, be sure to leave a like if you enjoyed this video, and subscribe, follow me on Twitter, hit up that bell icon, and come join my Discord server to hang out and never miss any of my future Overwatch content. Special thanks to my YouTube channel members who help make these videos possible, and if you'd like to join them to earn some cool rewards, then just hit that join button down below. Otherwise, this is Master Ian Gamer signing off, and until next time, have a great day.